So flashbacks into PTSD, it's basically reliving the trauma, but reliving it right now in the present. Because it's important for people to understand, if you are somebody who's married to, living with, a relative, somebody you know who is suffering from this, it helps to understand what it is they're dealing with. You can't help them if you don't know and understand.
Okay, let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Coaching to Change. My name is Dr. Aaron P. Bryant. I am your host. I am the one who facilitates this particular podcast, coming to you with different topics related to mental health, coaching, strategies, psychology, therapy, you name it, I'm talking about it. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that basically Dr. Aaron P. Bryant on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc. You know that I'm very transparent and I'm providing you different topics and support, daily quotes on a regular basis. Also, you can listen to me on any of the streaming channels such as iTunes and all the doozers and everything else that's out there providing different podcasts. I am there as well. Just search for my name and you will find me. My topics are very transparent, honest, well-researched, and basically informative. But most importantly, the thing that I want to bring to your attention is that my topics are real. They're related to the things that we struggle with. If you suffer from any type of trauma, if you're a military veteran, first responder, a victim of trauma, this is what you want to listen to. This is the particular podcast that's going to be very honest with you, as well as supporting your family, your friends, and anybody else who can provide you some sort of assistance. I'm going to work with you. Other people are going to learn from you. Other people are going to help you. Other people are going to support you. This is where you go. So please follow me. Click the bell. Follow me on YouTube, follow me on the different podcast channels, listen to the topics, learn from the topics, and know that everything that you're getting from me is something that has been validated, verified, and is backed up with facts and experts in this field. I don't even claim myself to be an expert at this point in time. However, when it comes to mental health, I know it probably just as good as you do if you're suffering from mental health, because I have my own challenges. I struggle with it every day. I've had my losses, I have my wins, and every day I'm working on it. So I take the things that I've learned in all the universities I've attended and all the degrees and diplomas and certifications and everything else that I've invested into, so I can invest back in myself as both a master coach, psychologist, therapist. This is what I do. And I do it because I care. I travel around the world learning, supporting, helping people, counseling people. I literally do that. And it's designed because everybody is different. Everybody has different backgrounds, different experiences. I cannot just go and take it from the books that they've given me in psychology. I can't just open up these books and say, okay, this particular psychologist and psychiatrist and therapist and this philosopher, I can't just take what they say and deliver it. I have to break it down and I have to apply it to reality. That's what I've done with Mastery in Life, which is a coaching and therapeutic model that I have put together that has allowed me to deliver and support people from a coaching and a psychology perspective. So look up Mastery in Life and understand a little bit more about some of the techniques that I've already been delivering and has been working tremendously. It's a modern day technique. And I implore you, look it up, get to know it, get to understand it. And if you're already a coach, you might find that you can actually take something away from it. The Mastery in Life model is definitely a component for you to learn from. Okay, so let's move on to today's topic. We have been on a series of topics all supporting post-traumatic stress disorder as something that I'm very, very familiar with, and it's also a passion of mine to understand it as much as possible. PTSD is nothing that we can, push to the side because of all the different components, all the different elements of PTSD. Somebody says, I'm depressed. Well, that's an element of PTSD. Somebody says I have anxiety. Somebody has stressors. There's all kinds of different elements. I mean, you Google it and you look it up, and some will say there's 7, some will say 9, some will say 23, some will say 33. We have various elements of PTSD that hits us from in all directions. Knowing that, it's important that we try to figure out, what can we do? What are our options? I am definitely giving you a series of information that's going to help you, and that's exactly what this show's about. So today we're going to talk about flashbacks. And that's something, a lot of people are struggling with. From a personal perspective, my flashbacks or night terrors. These are the things that as a veteran, some of the things that I'm challenged with. First responders are challenged with this. Any type of victim of any type of violent situation is challenged with. And for those who may not understand what that means, it means simply a reminder. It means being taken back to that moment and a quick scenario that reminds you and hits you in the gut about that particular incident. So flashbacks into PTSD, it's basically reliving the trauma, but reliving it right now in the present. So we're going to talk about that because it's important for people to understand, if you are somebody who's married to, living with, a relative, somebody who is suffering from this, it helps to understand what it is they're dealing with. You can't help them if you don't know and understand. So, being able to understand this is going to be one step forward, because individuals with PTSD, this is a very distressing symptom. It often makes them feel as if they're right back to where they were. Can you imagine how that's going to impact them? How it's going to impact them and what they're going to go through. That's an emotional situation that a lot of people cannot handle. So it's important for everybody surrounding that person to be able to relate. In a healthy brain, memories are, they're fairly simple. I shouldn't say simple, because the brain is by no means simple. It is the most complicated organ in our body. But the thing is that when we explore the flashbacks, how they affect our daily life, the strategies, we need our brain to be able to work with us, to being able to manage that. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how it's overwhelming, how we can, transport the person back to where they are, as it relates to the sounds and the emotions and being able to understand their trauma. And so let's kind of dive into this and help myself, help you, and help others as we try to understand how flashback impacts each and every one of us. And keep in mind, it's not going to always be the same for everybody. Again, our experiences are different, but also how we process things is different. And that's what I meant by our brains as being so complex. These flashbacks, as they occur, they disrupt how our brain processes the memories. So our memory may be as, going through something, and then this trauma will just interject like a sledgehammer. So whereas a healthy brain, memories are stored in a way that separates the past from the present, right? You could think about your history and you could think about where you are, and there's a separation, whereas that trauma will, it will intersect right in there and hit you so hard because you're taken back to a moment that caused whatever it is that it caused to you. I don't want to say fear. I don't want to say a behavior, because I don't know how you deal with it. But however you deal with that is what's happening at that moment when you flash back. Individuals with PTSD, that traumatic memory, it's often stuck It's improperly stored, and yet even though it's a historic situation, it's making that person, including even myself, it makes it feel fresh. It's like it's an immediate situation at that moment. And that's what we call, something that led to that is what we call a trigger. So understanding and figuring this out and being able to relate that this person is suffering from that is really important for you to take away. The brain the brain is responsible for processing fear. It's an emotional responses that we understand. It can be hyperactive. You got that prefrontal cortex that struggles to differentiate between the past and the present. But when you have that trigger, it could be a sound, it could be a smell, it could be a situation. These things activate this mechanism, and that causes the person to re-experience the trauma as though it's happening right now. So I want you to think about that very, very carefully and understand that if somebody had gone through something so traumatic, and yet at that exact moment, they feel as if they're experiencing that again, can you imagine how that could impact that person? We have situations for where, and my only examples, I have examples of people I work with and clients that I talk to. I'm hoping that you will be able to find something that works for you and you apply it. Okay, so number 2, we could talk about mindfulness practices. And that's when you train the brain to recognize and respond to flashbacks more calmly. Now, I can personally tell you this is going to be difficult. At least it'll be difficult for me because the circumstances that I've been in, there's just no way I'm going to be able to try to respond to this calmly. Absolutely, I don't see it happening. And I can imagine some people who've been through some very severe situations probably going to agree with me. So this is not going to work for me. I'm going to scratch this off my list, but maybe somebody else could use this. So over time, this is designed to reduce the intensity of flashbacks. Okay. Number 3, identifying the triggers. Now, I talked about this on another podcast about getting ahead of it. This is hugely important. It's almost like if you can identify it, that means you can avoid it. And if you can avoid it, you won't get that flashback. That's pretty much how this works. So if you know that, for instance, let's say you don't like walking into dark rooms, and that's a trigger, and that causes a flashback. So how do you avoid doing that? If you know that's your situation, you're going to put something in place so you're not finding yourself walking into dark rooms. So it depends on the severities. You might be able to manage it and do something on your own, or you may need a professional to help you with. Working with a therapist can help individuals identify specific triggers and help you learn how to navigate them. I personally figured it out, but then again, I'm also somebody who's gone through an immense amount of schooling and basically put myself to be that therapist, and I'm basically therapizing. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm basically doing it to myself. I'm my worst patient, I'll be honest with you, but I do what I can. Keeping a journal of when flashbacks occur. Okay. And, what caused you to get there, and basically, provide some, will give you some insight, some valuable insight on that. So what happened, what led to it, journalize it. And then which is what you take back to your therapist, and your therapist will help you from that point on, whoever that person might be. And if it's me, wonderful. Number 4, how about trauma-focused therapy? All right. So this is a technique. Obviously, it's going to be done with a professional, but therapies like EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. EMDR, reprocessing. So, or CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And I talked about these before in other podcasts, but they're highly effective for processing traumatic memories, and they are known to reduce flashbacks. So again, you're going to have to do this with a professional. Typically, psychiatrists are usually pretty good with this. If you're at that level where they're utilizing this technique, may or may not come with some medication. It all depends on that particular psychiatrist. All right. I talked about this practically on every PTSD topic, but this is probably because it's so important, and that's support networks. You know, talking to a friend, talking to a relative, getting to a group of people who are very familiar with what you're going through, all of this provides a level of comfort. It all reduces a sense of, allows you not to feel that you're alone. It reduces that sense of isolation and the situation that you experience with the flashbacks. So these are just some techniques that you can use, and I truly hope it works. Find the one that works with you. If it's getting a therapist, if it's for you trying to journal, whatever it may be that you feel that's within your comfort zone. Okay, because I'll tell you, when you go through a flashback, you feel like you lost control. It feels like the trauma situation is typically because you don't have control, or it's a situation that's so traumatic of what you are doing that it impacts you. So when you're going through that, having the right strategies, having the support, these things can allow you to help reduce the impact to how you feel. Understanding the science of flashbacks and seeking help through therapy, and all of this can empower individuals. The goal here is to regain control. That's the goal. You want to regain control. You want to be able to, take back your life, because recovery is a process, and every step you take towards any type of resilience, it's self-compassion. It's all a progress. And we need to push forward, remain confident in yourself, get over the fear, and know that it is possible. It is possible for you to get there. Just whatever you do, just do not give up. That's all I ask. Just do not give up. If you have to reach out to me, you reach out to me. If you have to find a friend, relative, somebody you can trust, then you do that. But whatever you do, you do not give up. I know PTSD. I know the elements can be strong. I know how it can impact you. I know it's frustrating. I have been struggling with variations of this for years, and it still impacts me on so many levels. So trust me when I tell you, I understand it wholeheartedly. But I've got to the point where I've put in certain things in place to assist me in moving forward. In fact, my second book, Mental Health, I put it out there. Like literally, I just said, you know what? This is going to be an emotional dump. And I am basically going to allow people to see and understand what I needed to do so I can be able to function and get through this. So hopefully, if you haven't read my second book, Mental Health, please pick it up. It's a very easy read. I designed it so that way anybody who's approximately 12 years and older can pick it up. It's a conversational book, which means it's almost like I'm talking to you, and it'll allow you to be able to understand some of my struggles, and here's some of the things that I did. Again, what I did. What you do with this is totally your call, but if you listen to the podcast, listen to some of the other shows, you'll be able to pick up on something that could work for you. And that's all I'm asking. I committed myself to doing this. I truly believe that this is my passion. I love doing what I do. I travel the world to being able to do this. I work with so many different people at all hours of the day. And I cannot tell you how rewarding it is that I'm able to deliver information that could absolutely help another person. And I was given a gift of knowledge where I can be able to take this knowledge, retain it, and be able to deliver it. I mean, I don't want to toot my horn, but it was like I couldn't get enough when I was in psychology. I mean, I could not get enough. My professors would tell you, like, literally straight A's. Like, it was almost, I still pinch myself that I had not deviated from that, because I just could not stop absorbing the information that I felt was necessary for not just me, but being able to share and deliver that. So that is what I'm doing all the time on this show, Coaching to Change. And I'm hoping that you will continue to listen, continue to follow, subscribe, click the bell, do all the stuff that they do with YouTube, all of the podcast channels, and please come back and listen again. And if you have any suggestions, please send it to me. I'm more than happy to take other topics, but I do my best to try to cover almost everything there is out there. Again, as a master coach as well as a psychologist, one of the things that's available to me is a whole plethora of data. So I'm taking it all and I'm delivering it to you. All right. So again, thank you so much for following, listening, subscribing, doing all the things that we need on social media. I am so happy to do this. I have another show coming back with some more PTSD topics, and I hope you're going to find it very interesting. So thanks again. And remember, don't ever give up on yourself. Somebody's always listening. If that person's not just me, it is somebody else who's going to pay attention. So I hope to hear from you, or hope that you're going to listen again. Thanks again. Talk to you later. Bye.